Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, the podcast where we bring you inside the world of joint ventures, strategic partnerships, and powerful collaborations. Whether you're looking to expand your network, find new referral partners, or scale your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Partnerships for Profit. I'm your host, Ana Del Rio, and this week we're joined by Lauren Taylor, founder of the Fleur Society, a boutique agency representing influencers and celebrities. Lauren shares how her background as an attorney helps creators protect their brands, secure better deals, and build lasting influence in the digital space. Thank you so much for joining us, Lauren. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. I'm really excited to get into what it is that you're doing. So could you please explain to our viewers, our listeners, how you got your start, like where you started, how you decided to start La Fleur Society, all of that fun stuff?
Absolutely. So I actually started all of this way back in 2005. I was crowned Miss South Carolina Teen USA, and that really propelled me to not only perfect speaking engagements and meet a lot of people, but I really was able to learn a lot about the industry as well as the importance of meeting people and making meaningful connections. So after my time as a Teen USA title holder, I did go to law school. I started my law firm the day I got sworn in. I did not have the benefit of having a dad or granddad or mom that was in the legal field, but I've always just had this entrepreneurial spirit. So I started my law firm. That was in 2012. We've expanded all over the state of South Carolina. We are an all-female law firm. We primarily do family law, criminal defense, and personal injury. And while that had been going on for, I guess, in my 12th or 13th year, I started to lose a little bit of my passion for it, especially in family law. A lot of it is really heavy stuff. We're dealing with divorce and child custody. And, after 10 or 12 years, you just start to get a little burnt out. So while I loved the law and loved, the team that I've built there, I really started focusing on what the next part of my life would look like. I've turned 39 this year. And so last year, exactly a year ago, I was at the pool with some of my good friends, and this idea just kind of came out of conversations with a lot of people in Charleston. I don't know if you've been aware, but Charleston has really turned into a reality TV hub. We've got a lot of Bravo shows that film down here, like Southern Charm, Southern Hospitality. We've got Outer Banks that films down here. So really, yeah, we've really grown into kind of an East Coast hub that's not Atlanta, not Miami, and not New York, but it provides, a beautiful backdrop for a lot of these films and TV shows. So I had some of my friends who were actually cast members of Southern Charm that were just at my house, and we were talking about things. And, as being a business owner, my first thought was you really have to monetize this flash in the pan that comes with reality television. You never know when you sign on for these shows if it's going to be a 1-season thing or, hopefully a 10-season thing that you build, a really long and meaningful career off of. But I was seeing a lot of people that just get really excited about getting signed on a show like this, but don't really put the thought behind, how do I maximize this opportunity and make sure that I use it to create something that lasts a lot longer than this show and that can follow me, into any other ventures I choose to do. So it started just with a conversation with her. And, I started asking, what don't you like about your manager? And I started asking all of my friends that, and come to find out most of them did not like their manager. And keep in mind, I was doing this from a place of, I wanted to poach people, right? And company, I want to poach the best talent, the best managers. So I was trying to find people I could hire to be managers for my new company. And it was almost impossible with even the dearest friends I had to find one person who people were really satisfied with. So then I really started asking, well, what is it that you're not happy with? And what do you think is missing in this space that would really tie all these things together? And what I heard overwhelmingly was there's a lack of professionalism. There's a lack of motivation to really see things through. And, my dad used to always say time kills all deals. So when you're just not following through or or if you let something slide off the track, that's money that's lost, and not just money, but a relationship and an opportunity that you probably can't get back. So I took all of that kind of brain trust of information that I was gathering from people that were in the industry, had management, and weren't happy with their management, and I kind of worked backwards. And so LaFleur is, in its essence, it is there to fix everything that has been wrong with traditional management over the last few decades, really. We bring my legal skill, which, coming from the legal world, there are rules and deadlines and consequences if things are, if mistakes are made or are missed. So bringing that set allows my clientele to not only have a manager that is working, aggressively to make sure that they're not missing any opportunities, but they also don't have to outsource legal counsel when they need those contracts enforced or if a brand's not paying. So that was really the genesis of LaFleur, how it came to be. And as we really celebrated our first year, we're now pivoting into a more overall branding and marketing agency so that we have PR, really everything that our talent needs and wants if they want to scale into something like a product line or, just a collaboration with another national brand. We're really there from start to finish to make sure the entire thing is executed to the way the brand wants and to make the client as happy as possible.
That is so exciting. So you not only work with, influencers, but you work with celebrities as well. You work with, in that space, in that entertainment space. So how exciting is that? I mean, you went from running a law firm to leading an influencer agency. I'm trying
to have the law firm. So
that's right. That's right. You do still have you wear many hats. And how do you keep that all balanced? It's all in one though, essentially. You're still.
It's it's honestly something that my husband and I joke about every day, because he's like, when are you going to start saying no to things? And in my mind, like every conversation, every person I meet is like another opportunity for another connection. And my brain is kind of doing this like mental Rolodex, like in every conversation I'm having, where like, oh, you have this connection and this person could be really good for that. So it is, I don't ever like to say the word balance, because I think that is something that a lot of women in particular get hung up on. I would love to sit here and tell you that I think we can have it all. I think we can, I just don't think we can have it all at once or all at the same time. So, my husband and I, we don't have children by choice. We do have 3 pets, but that was something that I really have always been super focused on my career and making sure that that was a priority for me. So there's always sacrifices to everything. But I think balance is something that we all strive for and we rarely achieve on a day-to-day basis. But it's the highs and lows of entrepreneurship, the wins of just like getting that email and that deal. Like after I finish this interview, I'm headed to set up for an Amazon Prime movie screening with some of our clients in town. So there's a lot of fun, a lot more fun in this side of things than in the law, unfortunately.
I can imagine. You said your legal background gives influencers an edge. So what are creators like getting wrong when it comes to protecting their brand?
Well, first of all, I think a lot of things are contracts, right? Like even as a lawyer who has, read hundreds of contracts, taken the bar, it's always something that's a little intimidating, because the first thing I'm like, my mentality when I'm looking at it is like, how did they create and structure this document that could potentially hurt my client, right? So I'm kind of already looking at it from a devil's advocate point of view. But honestly, like I don't like to throw it around a lot, but just recently we've had 2 brands that one was based in China and one was based in Korea, and they were over 45 days late in paying one of our talent. So I sent a letter, on my letterhead that basically said, per our contract, your X days past due. And, they fired back something a little snarky that was like, we've never had someone threaten legal action. And I'm like, well, you've never had someone that had a lawyer as the CEO, and I'm not going to outsource that to someone else when I can just type out an email and say, pay me what you owe me, for lack of a better word.
Wow. Didn't even think of it from that perspective because you literally had their back from the jump. So that's amazing. I love
And it comes in handy too a lot with like crisis management. We've had a
Mhm.
lot of things. I think it was back. It was early when I started, so it must have been like in October. Or no, it was right. It was on election day of last year. We have a client who has a adorable Shih Tzu, and we represent her as an influencer. But Enzo, the Shih Tzu, has his own representation as
Oh, I
well.
love that.
And there was a dog mayor competition, and Enzo lives in New York. And it was a dog mayor of New York kind of play on the election, I guess. And there was another dog that had a crypto scam that was behind him. And he was kind of like using the dog mayor race to create like a pump and dump crypto scam. And my client called me and we were talking about it. And the Daily Mail actually called her on the real US election day to ask her comment about the dog mayor race. And so I kind of had to, jump in and say, well, we don't want to say anything that could potentially be slanderous or libel,
Right.
or defamatory. So let's like make sure that we're really intentional with our answers. So it goes so far from just reading contracts to counseling them, because a lot of people make decisions hastily, especially when press is calling and they're just like, yeah, let me tell you all about it, and that's not always the best way to handle a situation. So I think of it as my girls joke, because I'll call myself like the Kris Jenner. Like I love being able to be the momager and really guide them on this path. Like one of the questions I ask talent when I meet with them, we're really a boutique agency. So we sign everyone that we meet, and we represent everyone from influencers to reality stars to movie stars. So I really want to make sure that when I'm bringing someone onto the team, that I'm doing it intentionally and that they're going to put in just as much effort into this relationship as I am, because, this is my baby and this is my livelihood. So one thing that I love to ask potential new talent is, in 5 years, if everything goes perfectly, where do you see yourself? Now, I can learn a lot from that question, because first of all, most people have no idea. They've never thought about it. They've never even, given themselves like 10 minutes to say, like, what would my absolute dream life look like? Like if everything went right and there was no failing, possible. And second, then it tells me if they do have an answer to that, one, they've thought about this, but it gives me a goal to work backwards from. So I had one girl that was like, as soon as I asked her that question, she was like, I want to be the next Heather McMahon. And I've never had anyone say that before, but I knew exactly what she was talking about. And I like started working backwards on like how Heather McMahon got her start. What was some of the stuff she did? And then, I found out that one of my friends lives next door to Heather McMahon's cousin. So, I mean, I really I don't stop. There's no telling me no, I'm going to figure it out. But that gives me an idea and a goal to chase with them. And it always gives us like a barometer of like, how are we in our journey together? Like, are we closer to that end goal? Right. Or are we further away? And it helps us, with every brand decision, every career decision, kind of like keeping that idea of where our end goal is really helps structure and advise them on that path.
That's amazing. So what are some of like the pain points that your clients come to you with, where they're, like, I need help with specifically this particular issue?
I think something that we're seeing a lot these days is the influencer market in particular is shifting at a rapid rate. A lot of the larger agencies like CAA and IMG are really either doing away with their influencer divisions, or they're merging them with the NIL divisions. So I think a lot of people are struggling with getting brand deals that are even close to what they were getting a couple years ago. I think a lot of brands have really slimmed down their budget, and they're also pivoting away from working with micro creators, like was happening a lot during the pandemic. Now they really want to see, a bigger partnership. They want to see more, bang for their buck. And something that we're seeing a lot of our girls that are needing more of our help and services is really staying on top of the creativity that is required in today's age. Like we've got AI influencers coming out, so we really have to say that our content is at the forefront of what is new, engaging, trending, all of that. So really spending time with them, perfecting like their overall brand image and like what the aesthetic is, as well as their pillars of content. So if we have someone that's like focusing heavily on the fashion industry, which is not doing a lot of paid sponsorships right now, they're much more in the gifting arena, then we might be having a conversation with them about how can we pivot more either into beauty or health and wellness, and see what we can, kind of rearrange some things at that point. Also, there's so much happening with TikTok now being acquired by the US government. Substack is a new platform that really is changing the game for people that weren't as comfortable being in front of the camera, but have so much insight to share in a traditional blog sense. So really like taking a talent inventory and saying like, which of these girls should really be focusing on these new platforms and trying to monetize those things, and which should stay where they are and really just reinvent themselves.
So cool that you work with them through, like you said, from point A to point Z, basically, with everything. It's wonderful. I mean, you're building a movement around empowered, authentic women in the creator space. What does empowerment really look like for you?
Oh gosh, empowerment to me, I want to get as many dollars in the hands of good-hearted women as possible. I feel like women in particular do amazing things with the resources they have. I mean, you can look at Mackenzie Bezos and Melinda Gates. I think that the more women that have financial security, power to make their own decisions, that the better off we all are, and the more good we can, do together as a whole. So that is what empowerment means to me. There's more than enough seats at the table. There's more than enough room for everyone to get where they're going, and everyone has their own unique path. So really like seeing what's different and what's unique about each girl is what brings me the most joy, like in my day-to-day life, because they're doing things that I would have never done or I could never do, but I get to still be a part of it from the sidelines and cheer them on. So I think that is what empowers me the most, at least.
That's what a momager does. Cheering.
That's right.
As the people that you help, I want to take this in a different direction, so forgive me, please.
Oh, it's okay.
One piece of advice you could share with all of like the up and coming influencers to make sure that they're set up for success?
I would say I think this is true. I've heard this about Kim Kardashian, but that she has always made it a point throughout her career to be nice to everyone, whether it's the janitor or the driver or the valet. I think that is something that a lot of people get swept up with, and you would be shocked at some of those people, and you think they might not have anything to offer you, or that they're not on your level. But I think that is one of the gravest mistakes people in general make. Everyone has a story. Everyone has something that you can take with you on your path of life, and really just trying to be as kind to everyone. I think that goes a long way with brands. There's a lot of people in this industry that they can choose to work with, and they're just as beautiful and just as smart and funny as you are. So if you can add kindness into that mix, and others don't, that's going to get you the job, and that's going to get you reoccurring jobs, because people want to continue to work with you. And I think that's something that even the biggest celebrities sometimes let slip, here or there, but that's what really they need to focus on, in keeping them grounded. And that's what will ensure success in the long term.
Staying humble. So basically.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, tell everybody where they can find you.
So you can find us on Instagram at Fleur Society. You can also find us at LaFleurSociety.com. And then we're also launching LaFleur Lab, which is our new services coming out. We're offering PR services, a full branding package, as well as content creation for some of those people that are just too busy to do a lot of that stuff themselves. And they're at the point now where outsourcing it makes the most financial sense. But yeah, that's it. And then you can find me as Lauren Taylor Attorney on Instagram.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this show. And I hope that everybody watching and listening really enjoys the content and can learn a lot from what you have to offer. And thanks again.
Of course, anytime.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Partnerships for Profit. We hope you've gained valuable insights on how to form profitable partnerships and take your business to the next level. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Got a partnership story to share or someone you'd like to see featured on the show? Reach out to us. Until next time, keep building those partnerships for profit.